All right, session 6, last session of module 2, unit 7. Today we're going to be looking at pages 274 and 2 set through 276. You did those problems in your book yesterday or in your last lesson. We're just going to be talking about those just a little bit. When you're done, please try to play the quotient to 100 game or roll 5 game. Those are kind of fun. You could also do the fraction splat game. That's kind of fun too. When we're all done with our discussion today, make sure that you do your student book pages 278 and home connections pages 143 and 144. All right, let's get to our lesson. So yesterday, you were supposed to do pages 274 to 276, and that is your homework. So I believe this was page 277 in your student book. Please pause the video and make the necessary changes that you need. See that what we mean here is that the work will vary. That means however you came up with your answer, as long as we came to the correct answer, would be correct. All right, so don't be so hung up on how you got your answer. Let's just try to make sure that you got that answer. Now, look at page 274 and through 276. Here you go. Again, the way that you came up with these answers are going to be a little bit different, but how you chose to use the remainder is what's most important. All right, and making sure that you answer the questions that are being asked. When you take your unit test, your unit 7 test, these questions are exactly like it. It's going to ask you to solve the problem and show your work. It's going to ask you to do your equation with an answer, and then it's going to ask you to explain whether or not you use the remainder or not. So if we take a look at this first one, it says a bakery donated 273 cookies for the end of the year 5th grade school party. How many cookies does each of the 84 students get if they share the cookies fairly? So here we used a ratio table, right? If one cookie meant that everybody had 84 cookies. If I gave 2 cookies out, that would be 168 cookies. And if I gave 3 cookies, that would be 252 cookies. If I would subtract that from 273, I get 21 leftover cookies. So what do I do? Well, I could do one of 2 things, right? I can keep I would put the remainder over my divisor, which is 84, right? I know this says 8. Yeah, that should be 84. So if I put 21 over 84 and I reduce that down to 1/4, I can do one of 2 things with this equation. I can get rid of the extra cookies, the excess cookies, to make sure everyone has 3 fairly, or I could even break up those that remainder of 21, which happens to be 1/4 of 84, and give everybody 1/4 of a cookie from there. Okay. Now for the next one, it says there are 814 students. And what we're going to do is we're going to go on a field trip with 31 buses. How many students would go onto each bus if divided evenly? Right? So to solve the problem, we'd have to show our work. Again, we're using a ratio table. 1 student, 31 people with 31 buses. 10 students with 310 buses. 20 students with 620 people. And then 5 would be 155. And we're going to use all of that information and come up with our answer, right? So we're going to get our 26 remainder 8. So on each bus, we're going to get 26 people on it. But in 23 of those buses. On the remainder of the buses, we're going to have 27. Okay, everybody see how we came up with that? Because there's 31 buses total. So if we put 26 on 23 of the buses and 27 on 8 of the buses, that means we will have enough people to sit on the bus, right? Because everybody has to go, so we have to include the remainder in it. Number 3 says Green Lake School is serving a cake to their 840 students on the last day of school. Each large cake serves 48 students. So how much cake does, or how many cakes does the school need? We're using an array method. Okay, so we have our 48, and then here we have our 840 students, because one cake serves the 800, one cake serves 48 students. So then we have to start breaking it down. So we'll do first use the 10, which will serve 480 students. If I do the 5, which is half a 10, that's 240 students. And then I use 2, which is 96. And that leaves me with a remainder of 24. Now, either I'm going to use the remainder, right? And I'm going to put that over my divisor, which 24 over 48 reduces down to 1/2. So we need 17 and a half cakes, right? To serve everyone, because, and we have to use our remainder because every student is going to get a piece of cake, right? So we either need 17 and a half cakes or 18 cakes would be appropriate as well. All right, so Green Lake School also wants to improve its landscaping around the school. The principal collects $476 from 56 parents to plant new trees. If all parents donate the same amount, how much do they give? So what will we do? We're going to divide 476 by 56. They're using a ratio table, right? If all 56 parents donated $1, that'd be 56. If they donated $10, that'd be $560, which is too much. So then we're going to do our division problem over here. We come up with an 8, remainder 28. If we put our remainder over our divisor, which is 2856, and we reduce that down, it gives us 8.5 or 8.5. So every parent will give $8.50. Good. All right, for number 5, during a play, 744 students sit in an auditorium. If each row can seat 32 students, how many rows would you need? Well, we're going to divide 32 into 74. And if, as you see, I need 32 into 744, not 74, but 744. We're using a ratio table to kind of give us a group of numbers and chunks so that we can subtract. I can multiply first 32 by 20, subtract, get 104. 32 times 3 is 96, get 8. So I have a remainder 8. So what do I do with that remainder? Well, I would need, right, 8 over 32, or 1/4 of a row. Or if I'm planning the symphony, I'm just going to tell my people that I need 24 rows, right? So you need to determine whether or not we need to use the remainder in our answer, or how do we use it, right? The last problem is our challenge problem. Hopefully that you all gave this a go. It said Family and Friends Committee sold tickets for a school dance. They used that money to pay for music decoration and snacks. Tickets cost $4.50 for the 259 students at bottom. The committee spent 1/3 of their money on food, and they bought 15 platters. So how much did each platter cost? So what we did is, first we had to figure out how much money they made. They multiplied 450 times 259, and they got $1,165.50. They spent 1/3 of it on 1/3 of it on platters, or on food. So we're not multiplying that by 3. I'm multiplying it by 1/3. All right, a little mistake found in the book. So I'm either dividing by 3 or I'm multiplying by 1/3, and I get $388.50. But I'm not done there, because that's how much we spent on 15 platters. They wanted to know how much we spent on one platter. So then we would divide that by 15 and get $25.90. All right, we would have to use the decimal because they're looking for an exact price. All right. So that's all we have to do today. Make sure that you are doing your workplace games. We are not doing the April number corners. We are doing the May number corner online resources for your homework tonight. Make sure you're doing your student book, page 278. Also, your home connections books, pages 143 and 144. If you have any questions, reach out to your teachers as soon as possible. If not, I hope you have a great day and enjoy math.